Hello again. This is Senator Harriette L. Chandler from the 1st Worcester District, and this is Beacon Hill Chat, the show that brings you interesting people to talk about some of the interesting things that are going on right here in Worcester. And we are very lucky because we have a special guest today. He is the brand new, just moved to Worcester, president of Quinsigamond Community College, and he also happens to be my next door neighbor. And at least temporarily, he's my next door neighbor. His name is Dr. Louis Pedraja. Did I pronounce it right?
Yes.
Pedraja.
Pedraja.
And I've been told by my staff that you need to know a little bit about him because he might be not boastful enough to tell you himself. So I'm going to tell you about him. He is an experienced educator, he's a policy expert, and he's a leader in the movement for expanding access to higher education. Most recently, he served as the interim vice chancellor of academic affairs for California's Peralta School District. Pronounce it all right?
Yeah, Community College District.
And was formerly vice president for the Middle States Commission on Higher Education and a professor of Southern Methodist University and the University of Puget Sound. And through faith, philosophy, and activism, he has championed a vision for equal access to higher education. So I'm very excited to have Dr. Pedraja. I got you into the district. Pedraja here with us today to talk about the future of Quinsigamond and tell you about our newest educator in town. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're delighted to have you here.
Well, thank you for having me on the show.
And an interesting point, we have our first college Hispanic, Latino, because you are from Cuba.
Yes, I am.
Now, were you born in Cuba yourself?
Yes, I was born in Cuba and was there until I was 6 years old. Then I went to Spain before coming to the States and growing up in southern Florida.
So you are basically, you are the first in Worcester, and quite frankly, it is really a breath of fresh air because we have a huge population who are going to look to you for all the things you are known for, like equal access to higher education. So you've taught, and you've been an administrator, and what has appealed to you the most, and why did you come to Worcester?
Well, I think that one of the reasons I've come to be in this role is because of my passion for helping first generation and low income college students be able to attend college. I was a first generation college student.
So you understand.
I understand. I was an immigrant. I grew up in an impoverished inner city neighborhood. And my parents had always told me, son, work hard, study hard, and get an education.
The American dream.
Yes, and one of the reasons they told me to get an education is because when we left Cuba, they had to leave everything behind, business, home. We came with just one suitcase. And my dad and my mom always would say, they can take away everything, but they can't take away your education. And that was the thing that inspired me. And then when I think about the young men and women, and even adults, who are thinking that college is beyond their reach, they're thinking that their dreams have passed them by, that this is for someone else, I want to tell them,
Look at me.
Look at me. You can do it.
You are the role model.
And I want to prepare the way, pave the way for them to be able to attain that education.
Well, we talk a lot about free college tuition now, particularly for the public schools. Is that just a dream or a wish, or can it happen?
Well, it has happened in several states. I think in Tennessee they already started some initiatives with that. There's a couple other states that at different levels have explored ways to provide free access, at least to a community college, if not to all the schools. And I think what most people forget is that investing in the students, investing in higher education is an investment in the future of the Commonwealth.
It truly is. It truly is. And the problem is that we seem to be having a revenue problem in our state. And as a result of that, tuitions have gone up. I assume that your tuition is 3% higher too, as everybody else's, with fees that also are going up.
Yeah, and actually the fees are sometimes a way that you can bump up a little bit of the tuition. We've tried to maintain flat tuitions as much as we can because we know it's hard. An average year at Quinsig will cost around $5,000. Now that doesn't seem a lot for some of us who are accustomed to paying quite a bit for college. But the reality is that for a working person, a parent, that is a lot of money. So we're trying to make it accessible. Now, of course, there are grants, there are loans, and there are ways that you can do it. But if they can have that barrier removed, the cost of education, they'll be able to attain jobs. And as you probably well know, studies have shown that 64% or so of the jobs that are emerging, that are opening up in the next few years, are going to require some college, technical degree, certificate, maybe an AA or a BA.
And that's one of the things that Quinsig and our community college system has been very good about. They understand, they're kind of our canary in the coal mine. They learn where the needs are very early, and they're through advisory committees with the business community. They are able to develop coursework that train people for jobs, not train people to get a degree, but train them for jobs that are available for those with those kinds of degrees. We have jobs in the state, but the jobs and the people who can have them are not necessarily in the same place at the same time, and that's what has to change.
That's correct. I was reading some articles recently about several states, companies are ready to expand, but they cannot because they don't have the trained workforce within the state to expand. That's in part why I say investing in higher education is an investment in the future of the Commonwealth.
Right. Now, I hate to ask you the question, what are your thoughts about where Quinsigamond might be going in this next year, which is obviously a learning year for you as you get your, get on more solid ground. How will you spend this year?
Well, a bit of the time is going to be spent in trying to understand the challenges Quinsig face. It is a very stable college. Dr. Carberry's leadership had allowed it to become a very stable place. But there are always new opportunities for us to grow, new opportunities to better reach the community. So we're starting our strategic planning process. Just started working, identifying people who serve in a committee from different constituency groups. We're going to have community members speak to the plan. We're going to have workforce, employers, members of the college community participate in it. So we already started identifying some of the critical people that we want in the core group that would lead us into that visioning process to see where is it that we're going to go. I have ideas, but I don't want it to be just my ideas.
No, but you need to have it corroborated by people who have been on the ground here for a while and know the territory.
Exactly, and one of the critical things is, as a new president, to listen. Spend some time listening, visiting with people, learning the community, learning the people that are working their skill sets, so that we can grow the college and make it probably, I'm a little biased, but I would like to say the best college in the Commonwealth and maybe even the nation if we can.
Well, we think it is. I mean, we have very high hopes for Quinsigamond. Lots of new things have been done in the last 10 years under Dr. Carberry, and we would see that you would continue in shaping the future of Quinsig. One of our issues, I mean, she's gone into satellites in communities that are some distance away, but where the need is still great for higher education. What are from your perspective, what are the real problems and challenges facing higher education?
There are several challenges. One of them is the drop of enrollment, and that's in part...
The bubble is gone.
The bubble is gone. When the economy went down, everybody needed to go to college to get retrained and to be able to access work. But enrollment was going down even before the Great Recession and the economic crisis. And part of that is just the population's not there. The birth rate has dropped. So you don't have the traditional college-age young men and women that are going to college. So everybody's scrambling for a limited pool of individuals. So that's one of the challenges. But then there's several other challenges that I see. There's less funding available. People are, the legislature, of course, always finds themselves making difficult choices, and it's a tight
But education
time.
in Massachusetts is extremely important. I mean, this is our top priority, and that I don't see that changing in the future. That will continue to be our top priority. Maybe we cannot fund you at the level that you would like to be funded, but and that you feel that you need to be funded, but you will be our top priority no matter what. I would say that it's education, healthcare. Those are our two major issues that we have to grapple with as truly as revenue becomes very short. And you know we have this millionaire's tax. I don't know whether you did this in California.
They've been talking about it, I'm not sure.
But it hasn't been done. The millionaire's tax is a tax that will be on as a referendum question in 2018. And it is a referendum question that would add to the existing tax structure. For people who earn over $1 million a year, they would tax anything over $1 million at 4% more than the regular tax. We feel that it changes our strategy, actually, of taxation, but we feel that people who earn over $1 million a year, 4% for a tax is not huge. That money would go to education and it would go to transportation, two areas that are badly in need of additional money. So that would be of help to you. Yes. That would be of enormous help to you.
Well, it would be of enormous help to the community, to
That's
the
true.
people that want to go to college and might not be able to afford it.
No.
And I appreciate that. That's one of the reasons that when this opportunity to come and be the president at Quinsigamond opened up, I decided it would be a good match, because Massachusetts has always been known for making higher education a priority.
Yeah.
And funding will always be a challenge everywhere as we get more complicated economic issues affecting all the government agencies. But the reality also beyond those challenges of the lower enrollments and the funding of colleges, both from the federal and the state, some decreases or at least flatline funding. The other challenges are trying to be innovative, to think where the workforce and the careers are going. We often train students to go to college for a particular discipline, but we don't always have in mind the profession they're going into. Most college professors are turning to be researchers, not necessarily teachers, and that applies in other areas. And I think we need to focus on helping teach to the profession that students might go into, and to be creative in how we combine different fields so that it gives the student or the future member of the workforce the flexibility to move from one job to another type of job.
As they will have to do in the years to come.
Yes.
Because jobs change, jobs suddenly are no longer needed, and new ones come up, and they need to be able to transfer. What kinds of lessons have you learned from your past experience that you bring to Quinsig?
Well, I've learned the importance of listening before you make decisions. I'm seeing a lot of college leaders, particularly when I worked in the commission and accreditation, working multiple universities and colleges. College leaders who fail to listen to the needs of the community, fail to listen to the needs of the campus. And I think listening is important, being present, knowing what is going on. And then also being strategic in the directions that we take. We need to look at, for instance, just mentioned the labor market and workforce. We need to look not at where it's at now, but where it's going to be 2, 3, 4 years from now, because that's when the students are going to be emerging.
Right. And do we know anything demographically about what the students are going to be, whether you're going to have an increase in students in the next 5 to 10 years?
Well, the greatest increase is going to come from minority populations, first generation, new immigrants, because those populations are still growing. If you look at, and I don't have the exact statistics, but the Worcester School District, for instance, is growing more and more diverse.
Yes, it is.
And a lot of those students might not have the knowledge or the parental guidance to know how to navigate college. And to succeed in the workforce, they're going to need at least some college, some training. So that's going to be critical for the students. One of the things I would like to start is a mentorship program to find.
That's a wonderful idea.
Yes, and we already have a few. We have some that are working with young men of color. We have some that are working with young women. But I really think that for those first-generation college students, for the students who are coming from immigrant communities,
where they have very little help at home.
Exactly, even low income, that they have very little support. The parents might be working hard to support them, but they don't have the knowledge about how to navigate the college system. When I was growing up, my parents wanted me to go to college, but to fill out those financial aid forms, they had to hire an accountant because they didn't have the idea of how they could fill out those forms. So to give that resource to a student is going to help their success. From the time they're seniors in high school or when they start their application process to the time that they at least finish their first year, to have a mentor. And I think there's a lot of mentors in our community. There are people who are retired, who've been through college, who can provide that guidance.
It's a great idea.
Alumni, business leaders. I think we can create a great pool that would help those students succeed.
But would they just be at the community college level, or would they start in high school? Would you start them in juniors? I mean, the program that just preceded you, this Eureka program, gets them to their senior year through their senior year of high school, and then they go to college. Would you pick up there, or would you try to have some sort of a bridge from the high school, and a bridge going the other way, bridge going to you have all kinds of memos of understanding with colleges, with our public institutions, and they need a bridge too.
They do, and what I would love to see is a mentorship from the time that young men and women start junior high all the way until they graduate from the 4-year or even further. That's the ideal. The reality is that we have to work with the areas that we have. So maybe in partnership with those programs like Eureka and others.
That would be a good idea if you could. I mean, there are a lot of them. They're separate. They have no commonality to them. Maybe Quinsig could be that common bond that would work with them all and help them. And they would help you and help those students tremendously.
And I think that is something that could be done. If we can align our community resources, so a young person starts thinking about college early on. Even there's a program in Oakland where I was recently at, and I was working with the mayor's office and the colleges and the Oakland Unified, and it's an alignment Oakland program.
Really?
And they were trying to align community resources to help everybody in the community be able to go to college. So they started with the babies, what they call brilliant babies. They'll put $100 in a college fund.
We have it with kindergarten, at kindergarten.
So they would start at that level, and then at different stages, they would provide those resources. There was mentorship. We're using dual enrollment, early college programs to help the kids in the school start getting into the college mindset.
Yep.
And then even all the way to the workforce. We have workforce people in those panels that will also coordinate and trying to make sure they're looking for careers that would lead them to successful employment.
I think you will find that Worcester is rather well known for the fact that we work well together. It's a community that comes together to solve problems, and we're known for that. And so I think that this idea will find very fertile ground here. I think the new superintendent, she's only a year ahead of you in terms of her superintendency, but I think you will find that she would love this idea and would be just a wonderful person. I've been a mentor, so I know what it can mean. I know exactly what it can mean, and I think there are lots of people as they age out of the workforce but have lots of time and energy would be perfect. What any other ideas that you bring from your many other experiences across the country?
Well, I already mentioned a little bit about the dual enrollment, which is
that's important.
A very important program. Getting college credit while you're still in high school.
Yep.
And that is another area that I think we can work together to strengthen the programs that already exist. There are some, but in other places I've been, there's been a lot of growth in the dual enrollments, and all the studies show that the kids that enter work, they succeed, they go to college, they finish college. And it's a very daunting experience to go into a college if you've never been in one. And even from high school to college, the transition is radical. You're more independent, you have to make your own choices. It's not something that's prescribed. So to have that experience ahead of time, to feel, oh, I know what college is about, I took a course, I know I could pass, while you still have the support of your high school teachers and the community, it makes it a lot easier for you to move forward and succeed.
We have a dual enrollment program here, and that will make a difference. I think it will be of help to you. Anything else besides that? I
think the use of workforce and nonprofit development programs. For a long time, our training has always been to focus on getting people ready for jobs. But the jobs world, well, the corporate world is transforming. Industry is changing. There's new equipment, new software every other day, new technology, new ways of manufacturing. In all those areas, it's not just about learning how to get into the workforce, learning how to keep being successful in the workforce. So part of the training that we can offer to the community and working with corporate and partners and other industry in the area is to retrain people that they work there on technology, on the new instruments, on the new procedures, even for managerial positions, so they could move ahead in the work world and the work environment, as well as the non-credit programs. Non-credits is for particular training that you might need to succeed. You need to learn another language to be more successful in your business. You have a lot of Spanish speakers coming in. Learn Spanish so maybe you can market to them. So we can also offer courses through those areas so that they could learn a skill set on their own time, maybe little by little, and grow their business or grow in their opportunities for furthering their professional careers.
Well, it sounds like you're coming with lots of wonderful ideas, and you're certainly coming to you're coming to a campus and to a college that is in very good shape, which is, I think, important. You're not you're not trying to pull the pieces together. It's in good shape, and it's ready to go to the next level. So you're in the perfect situation to do some of the wonderful things you're thinking about, and that will make it a very fortunate place. It sounds like a good marriage has been brokered here.
I'm hoping that it is, and I think we'll be able to succeed. I think you'll see a lot of good things coming out of Quinsig in the years to come. I think there's a lot of potential for us to transform not just the college but the community, and even to be leaders in the Commonwealth.
That's wonderful. I hope that, I assume you've worked closely with your legislative people in the communities you've been. We work very closely here with the various agencies and schools that we have, and they work closely with us. You have a senator, who is me, and in this case, I represent the college, and you have a rep, and you have the rest of the delegation, and you will meet them very soon, I assume.
I've already made plans and working to set up meetings with everyone. Of course, you're next door, so it's easy to meet you.
But I think you'll find that what we do have is the delegation's invited to the college to meet you and listen to your plans and listen to where we can be of help. And that works well in Massachusetts. It really does. You're the crown jewel in Massachusetts as far as I'm concerned. So, and I think others feel the same way. So we hope that it's going to be a very successful marriage between the college and you. And it sounds like from your plans that you're going to fit perfectly into what the needs are, the demographic needs, and the business needs, the economic needs are of the school. So thank you for coming on. I will usually ask you several times, so this is not your only visit. Your first, but not your last. So we thank you so much, and we thank you as well for joining us. Hope to see you again next week. This is Harriette Chandler, the Senator for the 1st Worcester District, saying goodbye for now. We'll see you next week, same time, same place on Beacon Hill Chat.